My primary object in this work is to explain certain words occurring in the prophetic books. Of these, some are homonyms, and of their several meanings, the ignorant choose the wrong ones. Other terms which are employed in a figurative sense are erroneously taken by such persons in their primary signification. There are also hybrid terms, denoting things which are of the same class from one point of view and of a different class from another. It is not here intended to explain all these expressions to the unlettered or to mere tyros. A previous knowledge of logic and natural philosophy being indispensable, or to those who confine their attention to the study of our holy law, I mean the study of the canonical law alone, for the true knowledge of the Torah is the special aim of this and similar works. The object of this treatise is to enlighten a religious man who has been trained to believe in the truth of our holy law, who conscientiously fulfills his moral and religious duties, and at the same time has been successful in his philosophical studies. Human reason has attracted him to abide within its sphere, and he finds it difficult to accept as correct the teaching based on the literal interpretation of the law, and especially that which he himself or others derived from those homonymous, metaphorical, or hybrid expressions. Hence he is lost in perplexity and anxiety. If he be guided solely by reason, and renounce his previous views which are based on those expressions, he would consider that he had rejected the fundamental principles of the law. And even if he retains the opinions which were derived from those expressions, and if, instead of following his reason, he abandoned its guidance altogether, it would still appear that his religious convictions had suffered loss and injury, for he would then be left with those errors which give rise to fear and anxiety, constant grief and great perplexity. This work has also a second object in view. It seeks to explain certain obscure figures which occur in the prophets and are not distinctly characterized as being figures. Ignorant and superficial readers take them in a literal, not in a figurative sense. Even well-informed persons are bewildered if they understand these passages in their literal signification, but they are entirely relieved of their perplexity when we explain the figure or merely suggest that the terms are figurative. For this reason, I have called this book Guide for the Perplexed. I do not presume to think that this treatise settles every doubt in the minds of those who understand it, but I maintain that it settles the greater part of their difficulties. No intelligent man will require and expect that on introducing any subject I shall completely exhaust it, or that on commencing the exposition of a figure I shall fully explain all its parts. Such a course could not be followed by a teacher in a viva voce exposition, much less by an author in writing a book, without becoming a target for every foolish, conceited person to discharge the arrows of folly at him. Some general principles bearing upon this point have been fully discussed in our works on the Talmud, and we have there called the attention of the reader to many themes of this kind. We also stated in Mishnah Torah that the expression Maaseh Bereshit, the account of the creation, signified natural science, and Maaseh Merkava, description of the chariot, metaphysics. And we explained the force of the rabbinical dictum, the Maise Merkava must not be fully expounded even in the presence of a single student, unless he be wise and able to reason for himself, and even then you should merely acquaint him with the heads of the different sections of the subject. That's from the Talmud Chagiga. You must therefore not expect from me more than such heads, and even these have not been methodically and systematically arranged in this work, but have been, on the contrary, scattered and are interspersed with other topics which we shall have occasion to explain. My object in adopting this arrangement is that the truths should be at one time apparent and at another time concealed. Thus we shall not be in opposition to the divine will, from which it is wrong to deviate, which has withheld from the multitude the truths required for the knowledge of God, according to the words, "The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him," from Psalms. I know that also in natural science there are topics which are not to be fully explained. Our sages laid down the rule, the Maise Bereshit must not be expounded in the presence of two. If an author were to explain these principles in writing, it would be equal to expounding them unto thousands of men. For this reason the prophets treat these subjects in figures, and our sages, imitating the method of Scripture, speak of them in metaphors and allegories, because there is a close affinity between these subjects and metaphysics, and indeed they form part of its mysteries. Do not imagine that these most difficult problems can be thoroughly understood by any one of us. This is not the case. At times the truth shines so brilliantly that we perceive it clear as day. Our nature and habit then draw a veil over our perception, and we return to a darkness almost as dense as before. We are like those who, though beholding frequent flashes of lightning, still find themselves in the thicket darkness of the night. On some the lightning flashes in rapid succession, and they seem to be in continuous light, and their night is as clear as the day. This was the degree of prophetic excellence attained by Moshe, the greatest of prophets, to whom God said, "But as for thee, stand thou here by me," in Devarim 31, and of whom it is written, "The skin of his face shone," in Shemot 29. Some perceived the prophetic flash at long intervals. This is the degree of most prophets. By others, only once during the whole night is a flash of lightning perceived. This is the case with those of whom we are informed they prophesied and did not prophesy again. There are some to whom the flashes of lightning appear with varying intervals. Others are in the condition of men, whose darkness is illumined not by lightning, but by some kind of crystal or similar stone, or other substances that possess the property of shining during the night. And to them even this small amount of light is not continuous, but now it shines and now it vanishes, as if it were the flame of the rotating sword. The degrees in the perfection of men vary according to these distinctions. Concerning those who never beheld the light even for one day, but walk in continual darkness, it is written, "They know not, neither will they understand, they walk on in darkness." Truth, in spite of all its powerful manifestations, is completely withheld from them, and the following words of Scripture may be applied to them. "And now men see not the light which is bright in the skies." That's from Eov. They are the multitude of ordinary men. There is no need to notice them in this treatise.